Episode 2. We did it. Here we are. Episode 2. Welcome back. This is Natalie Moore and this is the Love is a Battlefield podcast. Welcome back. So today is the red flags episode. Love red flags. Okay. I don't love red flags. I'd prefer 0 red flags, but I love the idea that we can talk about them, educate ourselves, and hopefully avoid really yucky situations by discussing red flags. I love the idea and the theory behind red flags, not the actual dodgy behaviors that cause the red flags. So welcome to the red flags episode. So last time I told you a little bit about me, but because it's the first few episodes, I think I'm going to just do a brief intro every time, just for a few episodes. Don't know how many, I'll just go with the feeling. So my name's Natalie Moore. I've been an RN for over 20 years, #old AF. I hashtag, so it's like, how old are you? I was a mental health nurse for somewhere around 5 of those years, and part of that you become a mental health practitioner, so I've got all that side of things going on. I've done some domestic violence courses, and I'm a survivor of DV, and by survivor I was almost murdered, very, very close. Very like death gurgle sounds kind of close. Like, okay, that sounds a bit, that's, sorry to even mention that. That's gross. It's horrible. I've had varied experiences of DV in my life, and one particularly unpleasant one with a person with very strong psychopathic traits. So there's experience, there's education, all coming together in one recipe to bring you Love is a Battlefield podcast, the podcast that focuses on DV and relationships. The idea behind it is to educate people about things I didn't know, and I've found so many survivors don't know about DV. And also, let's have fun. Let's talk about relationships. Let's spill some hot tea. I'll also share over time just bits and bobs of things that happen to me, events and things. They're not pleasant, but sharing is caring. And hopefully, if just one't feels better about themselves or learn something, #worth it. So I'll probably stop hashtagging because, let's not. So this is the second episode. I listened to the first one, and word of the day, cringe. I know. I'm not in a studio. I don't have a massive team. I don't have sound engineers like the podcasters I listen to. So I have to have a bit of grace. And I've also realized how much I took it for granted when I was a radio announcer. I was 25 years old, and I just took it for granted. I pulled open that big, thick, soundproof door, and it had the egg carton, foam all over the walls. You just sit down in front of a microphone, you speak, you get up, you walk out, you get paid. I took it for granted. Trying to just DIY. Yeah, I really do appreciate that now. Usually every episode I will share, as I was saying, something about myself. But I've decided this episode, when I'm talking about red flags, and as anyone who's dated out there in the jungle that is dating, anyone will tell you their list of what they think red flags are. They're going to have examples. And I'm telling you, every red flag I go to talk about, I can think of so many stories to share. And so I don't even have time to spill any tragic and horrible story at the end. I'm just going to spill all throughout. It's going to be sharing. It's going to be caring. There's going to be hot tea spilled all over the place. Get your bibs on. Get ready. Let's go. Oh, and do not forget Sophie's update this episode. It has happened. There is an update. Piping hot tea. Do not burn your tongue. That will be happening later. Anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, last episode, get onto it. Then you'll understand what we're talking about when we refer to Sophie and good old Greg. All right. So red flags. What are red flags? Well, according to the definition from the Oxford Dictionary, a red flag used as a warning of danger. This is how Oxford Dictionary people speak, I imagine. The example... Oh, no, this is me speaking. Change your voice back. The example they've given is, beachgoers should remember to remain alert when red flags are flying. Literally, when I read that, I was like, yes, I had completely forgotten. I am an Aussie, Australian, grew up near the surf beaches, going to them all the time. And the red flag means you cannot get in the surf. The yellow flag means caution. You can still go in. Watch out. Red flag means if you go in there, you may die. It's really bad. And I'm telling you, it is bad when they put the red flag out. I had completely forgotten that. I talk about red flags all the time, and I'd forgotten that surf lifesavers put out the red flag when you can't swim at the beach. So that's interesting. The Britannica, all these posh dictionaries, a warning sign that there is a problem that should be noticed or dealt with. And the Cambridge Dictionary, a flag used as a sign of danger or to tell someone in a race to stop. That's right, girlfriend. Stop your race, stop your dating. He's got red flags, you stop. Cambridge told you. Hold your horses. Now, the whole concept and term of red flags is only recent. When I was a young adult dating, the term red flags did not even exist. This is a recent thing. So it's come from hindsight from people around my age or older. When we dated, had regrets, and said things like, oh, I wish I'd known. Or, oh, when he did this, why didn't I know that was a sign of this to come? So now that we have this dialogue going on, it's so good because it's telling us what we need to know to warn us of what might happen. And the dialogue isn't just educating us on what could happen. The dialogue's also educating young, maybe future perpetrators on, so that's something you shouldn't do. I think it's great. And also, if you have, just say you have a girlfriend and she's dating someone and they're not good. I remember I dated guys that were not very nice when I was young. And people would just pay them out and say, oh, he's an idiot or he's not good. And they pay out their looks and stuff. And I think they were just being mean and I didn't know why. Whereas now we have this term called red flags where you can say to someone, look, I'm just concerned. There are some red flags. If you do want to discuss the red flags that I've seen, we'll discuss it. But just being able to say 2 words, red flags, to someone is really a polite way of not putting down their partner or whoever they're dating, but telling them, look, something doesn't sit right for me and I'm concerned. It's such a good dialogue that we have now and I love it. I love what it does. It empowers us. Knowledge is power. Something very important to note is that red flags are the warning signs at the start of a relationship. I'm thinking 0 to 3 months. The first few months of a relationship. That's when something little could be a sign of something bigger in the end. It's not 10 years into a marriage. Old mate tells his wife, oh, you're going to wear that. And she tells him, oh, you're going to wear that. You've got your foundation. You've got your own communication styles. Red flags are more the start of a relationship. And why? Why the start? Because everybody is on their best behavior in the first few months. It's literally science. It's literal #facts. It's literal psychology. It's human nature. Everyone starting a new relationship with someone they like is naturally putting their best foot forward and on their best behavior in the first few months. So if there are signs of little hints of things, that it's a fact that thing, while someone's on their best behavior, if they're showing things that aren't so good and are giving you that icky feeling, it could mean down the track things might not be good. Now, not every person exhibiting behaviors that are red flags is an abusive person or going to be an abuser. They could be signs that they might be a cheater, or they might just disrespect you or ignore you or not prioritize you. There's warning signs of lots and lots of things, but basically at the end of the day, the more red flags, the more the warning should be heeded. We shouldn't ignore red flags. While some things are standard and commonly known as red flags, like we all go, yeah, we know that's a red flag, we can also have personal red flags. And personal red flags are from your own experiences. An example I thought that wasn't about me, but I just sort of made up, but could be for some women. I thought about PlayStations. How you can get in a relationship with a young guy. Yeah, I'm talking about the guy that pees in a bottle. He doesn't leave the PlayStation. He doesn't prioritize his relationship. And he might get aggressive toward her if she did want to spend time with him. And if that PlayStation was like an addiction and it became like an issue in that relationship, then that girl, woman, she may then, when selecting a new mate, see, oh yeah, I love playing my PlayStation all the time, as a red flag for her, considering her personal experiences. But it's not a red flag for everyone, because not everyone who plays PlayStation makes it an issue in their relationship, but she's had personal experiences that she wasn't comfortable with. So she sees that as her own personal red flag. So red flags are so good. It's so good. There is a term out there now to describe behaviors that might not be healthy or safe. It empowers women to choose better, even though at the end of the day, it's not on us and our choosing. It's not our fault. Everyone's behavior is their own responsibility. But you don't want to waste time with someone, do you? You don't want to waste time with the wrong person. So if you can spot things early on and GTFO, that means, do I have to even say what that means? It means leave. It means get out, with a few extra letters in there. I'm trying not to swear. I'm doing well. When I was on live radio, I didn't swear, and I was so proud of myself. But I don't know, podcasting, it's so different. It's so different. Here we are. I've written a list. Here's a list. I quickly just jotted down the first examples of red flags I could think of. As you know, it's endless because of the personal things and personal experiences and the main obvious things. So I've just written down some things that I've heard people refer to as red flags. So if you're on a date, how they treat the waiter, how people treat service staff, how people treat people who earn less than them and are serving them. That's a no-brainer. Everyone kind of knows that. If they're rude to the waiter, if they're rude to service people, that's an indicator that they disrespect people. So, red flag. By the way, when I list these, I'm going to go on tangents. Ride with me, come on the ride, hop on the bus. The hot tea bus is going on tangents. I'm going to tell you stories. I'm going to think of stuff to say, and it's just going to happen. Hashtag apologies in advance. Hashtag all apologies. Hashtag Nirvana. Right. Enough tangenting about tangents. If you've met a guy, okay, here's a red flag. If you've met a guy on the internet and he's rushing into meeting and you have said, I'd rather get to know you first. I just don't feel safe meeting someone day one. And they're disregarding that boundary you've set. And they're like, I'm not here for an effing pen pal. And they get aggressive. And you've said, look, I really want to meet, but I just want to wait X amount of days or whatever you've said. And you explain why. And they're still being disrespectful and rude and really pushing. If someone is pushing things to go faster than they should, and secondly, if they're disrespecting the boundaries you've clearly communicated, red flags. Lies. I've written lies, small or big. I think if someone can lie, a small lie, that seems to be a bigger red flag in the first few months than a big lie. Obviously, in the first few months, there might be things we're withholding until we trust a person. That's different. I'm thinking lies, like a blatant lie. If they're willing to lie to your face about a menial thing where if you found out the truth, there was no really bad ramification, like it wasn't something like, oh no, I have to lie in this situation for safety or because I don't want them to know this or something justifiable. If it's just some little thing, if they're willing to lie about the little stuff, they're going to lie about the big stuff. They're going to lie for a reason. If they're lying for no reason about little things, if you're just noticing or pick up or find out about any dishonesty in those first few months, when you're in that honeymoon phase, I shouldn't be lying. Okay, back to my list. My phone I put the list on my phone and my phone keeps locking. And you know how you have the face thing? So every time I start gas bagging and chatting and then I look down and it's locked itself again. Right, where was I up to? I keep reading and go, If they ignore your messages for days, like you're not a priority. I mean, this is the honeymoon phase, guys. This is when they're treating you the best they'll ever likely treat you at the start of a relationship. And if you say, hi, how's your day been? And they don't reply for a couple of days. And I've got a story about that. I think I'm going to come back to the stories. They say misogynistic things. Put downs, if they talk about your weight, if they say, are you going to eat all that? Or, are you wearing that? Comments about your appearance, if they're controlling, if they're telling you what to wear, what to do, who to see, if they have a go at you when you go to see your friends. They can be very subtle, controlling, especially early days, very subtle. What have I written? Small, walking in front of you. If they're small, we love a short king. If they're small, run. Okay, I can't decipher my own notes here. What I'm trying to say is, if it is a small red flag, but it's something that I think personally I realized was a red flag myself after dating men for years. I realized in hindsight that the men who disrespected me and treated me like crap would always walk in front of me. I understand in a squishy crowd, one has to go ahead and usually you hold hands and they'll pull you through the crowd or something like that. But what I'm talking about is if you're just at the shops, there's plenty of room and they always tend to walk in front of you. It's just something, I didn't even notice it for years. And then after a while, I realized the men that did that were not very nice. And so that for me is like a personal kind of red flag, but it is a red flag. I mean, if they're ignoring you, they're not messaging you back, they're walking in front of you, just tiny little things can show you that, hey, once you're out of this honeymoon phase, they're probably going to be treating you a little bit worse than just walking in front of you. Wanting you to see them and not family friends. Oh, yeah. I think I touched on something similar to that before. If they don't want you to see your friends or your family or anything like that, I mean, that's pretty obvious. The way they are with your parents and children. And I've written the word creepy. So what I meant by that is watch how they interact with people you love and your family and friends. Also watch how they interact with people of different ages, how they are around children. Are they and nasty? Are they creepy? What are they like? Are they over familiar with people? Are they respecting everyone's boundaries? Because in those first months, if they meet your family, if they do that early on, or whenever they eventually do meet your family the first time, someone who cares about you will care if your family approves of them. So they will be wanting to put their best foot forward when they meet your family. So if they are just being kind of mean and nasty to you and not respecting your friends and family, they're not really respecting you. Are they reliable? If they say they're going to be somewhere at a certain time, do they always cancel or do they turn up? I mean, you like someone, you're going to be there. Things happen and we can't always be somewhere or we're late, but do they communicate if they're going to be late? Things like that. Are they on the phone the whole time while they're with you? Obviously, years down the track, you're both on your phones, you're both doing things. Early days. Are they ignoring you the majority of the time you are together? Are they ignoring you even when you're sitting right next to them the whole time? I look at my phone a bit. But if I started seeing someone and I was excited to spend time with them and do things and go out with them and go on dates, if I spent the whole time like texting people, it's giving the ick, it's giving red flags. If you find dodgy things like, I don't know, if they have like a social media account, like in Facebook or something, and you can see some posts where they're saying racist things or homophobic things in the past, or if you just generally come across things, if you stay at their house and they're like, yeah, you can pop your things in the top drawer next to your side of the bed, and you open it, it's full of G-strings from ex-girlfriends, and he says, oh yes, I collect them, I can't wait to add yours to the collection. That's a bit of a red flag, girlfriend. You might think that's not really a common thing to look out for. You'd be surprised. The kind of people I've met. Okay, I haven't met anyone. Have I met any? I'm trying to think. No, I had a friend, a male friend, so not someone I dated, that did collect women's underwear, and I did not date him. Not because of that. I don't know. Like, as other reasons, but yeah. So that's not that rare. It happens. So the one thing I really want to stress, and I did say this last episode, was abusers do not abuse from day one. The first few months honeymoon phase, on our best behavior, they do not abuse you then. An abuser will treat you so good then. And this brings us to manipulators. The worst person who nearly murdered me obviously had done his research about red flags and knew how to emulate a nice person and hide his red flags. Not everyone is a high functioning manipulator. Not everyone is this experienced, practiced manipulator. I was not his first victim, and so he had much practice in the area of manipulation. and was able to hide red flags and things like that. That's rare, but it does happen. How they talk about their ex, how they talk about women. Yes. I've got a few examples of this. Okay, one. Yeah. There was a guy. Oh my gosh. Fascinating story. Duh. And the way he spoke about his mother and his sister or any females he knew, he would speak with aggression, and his body language would change. He looked angry, and the words he chose to talk about them, and just disrespectful language. And this is his sister and his mum and people in his life and female friends. And yet it was completely different when it came to males, like his brother or his father that abandoned him and treated his mother like crap. If he was speaking about males, he could just speak normally like they were humans. And this person treated me quite crappy. And yeah, that was something I noticed. They had an issue with women, and it's very sad. This person has some childhood stuff, I believe. I've figured it out myself because they had so much pride they wouldn't talk about anything. And they, to this day, they're probably 40-ish now and never been married, never kids. And that's something that they really wanted in their life, but they haven't had it because they would just go through women like, what, now, next. And I watched this person date the most beautiful women and just treat them like crap. And I dated this person. I was the longest relationship they've had, and it's not really something I could brag about because the only reason I was the longest is because I put up with the most poor treatment. This is a story from before in the list that I'm going to share now. Get ready for the tea. Here's a red flag that was flapping in my face so hard, and I ignored it for a list of reasons that I was quite conscious about. But yes, okay. He sat me down when we established that we were going to be in a relationship, and he drew a diagram of his priorities in life, like work, friends, other things he did, and tax. And he put me in the bottom right, I think it was the bottom right corner, in a box under tax. And this was his diagram to show me how little I meant to him and how little a priority I was in his life. And he needed to draw this diagram to show me, this is my life. These are my priorities. This is you. You're in a box under tax. And they say that people treat you the way, what's that saying where they're showing you what they think of you, and you've really got to listen to the way they're showing you. He's showing me he's basically painting a red flag and handing it to me. He literally drew this diagram, and I'm in a box under tax. And the whole point of him doing this was to tell me, don't expect much from me. Now, granted, this man did not have children. At this stage, he didn't have pets or anything. He had no responsibility but his job, and that's it. And it wasn't like a job it wasn't long hours or anything like that. He would work much less hours than me. I was a nurse, 8-hour shifts. He would do his entire day in 4 to 6 hours and earn 4 times as much. That's another topic we can get into another day. The pay gap. But anyway, so he didn't have things like, I've got kids. Like, it's understandable. There are priorities. But to sit me down and tell me I'm in a box underneath tax, it really reflected who he was as a person and what he was thinking and how he did treat women in his life, including his sister and his mother. He just had this strong misogyny. And because I'm not mentioning names and no one knows who the hell I'm talking about, I can tell you that I found out at the end that he had a very, very strong addiction to porn. And that explains a lot. That explains where this strong misogyny and these values came from. But also, he had a single mother and he blamed her for being a single mother and being poor. He took it out on her rather than the father who abandoned him. Yeah, he had a lot of issues and a lot of unresolved trauma and refused. He had so much pride, he would get aggressive if anyone talked to him, even his male friends. When we broke up, I had his friends coming to me and saying, oh, was that because he's really aggressive? Like, I didn't even know they noticed that. He wasn't an abuser. He didn't abuse me. He treated me like absolute dirt under his shoe, treated me like crap, disrespectful, very troubled person. But he was not a violent abuser of mine. So you can get, not everything's about abuse. You can have other sort of situations. And I actually feel sad for him because I'm rooting for him to find a wife, to have, because he wanted a wife and kids so bad. Yet he refused to get the help he needs to let go of this anger and hate. And yeah, it's very, very sad. And every time I've heard he's had a girlfriend, I'd be like, yes, please be the one. Please work out. And the girl, she looks so lovely. And then he just does it again. And it's just sad. It's sad. But it's not the girl's fault. It's his responsibility to reflect on his own behaviour and adjust his own behaviour. So there's a red flag. That's a pretty obvious red flag, but I wanted to share that tea. What is at the time? I've been talking all this time and I haven't even given other stories. I have so many stories. I cannot wait to share so much of my life and what I've been through with you, like seriously, but time. I have been gas bagging for so long right now. So we have to get to the update on Sophie. We cannot miss out on the update about Sophie. It's vital. It's important. So not much time to go over what was happening. So go back to episode 1 if you want to know who Sophie is, who Greg is, what was going on. You can email in asking for advice or spilling your own tea or own experiences with TV or relationships or anything. And being episode 1, I asked a friend, or a few friends, and one of them actually had a dilemma going on, and her name we changed to Sophie. We changed the names for privacy, and her husband's name we changed to Greg. And yeah, she saw some things going on she wasn't sure about, and she was a bit sus on. And her question to us was, does she have the right to sort of start going through like his things and looking? Because she had brought up with him her concerns. She was ticking quite a few boxes of things that were happening that led her to say, hey, I know it's kind of weird if you do it all the time, but should I look? And we collectively came back with a majority, yes, you should. And today we have the update. Okay. As excited as I am to share what happened and the update, it's not good. So he denied it. When she went and talked to him, he denied it again. She did it. She went looking and found the Uber from in the Uber account from the airport to another suburb in their city the day that he was meant to come home every single fortnight on the Wednesdays. She confronted him. Turns out, yes, he had been having an affair. That cheating son of a... Anyway, with a woman that she didn't know who lived in that suburb. He played the it's your fault card, got defensive. You know how cheaters do that. And aggressive and nasty. He got all of the above toward her and tried saying, oh, but if you, and all this stuff. He left after that came out, and he's now living with the other woman, and they're separating and planning for him to get the rest of his belongings and actually fully probably move out soon. It's very sad. So sorry to Sophie, or what your real name is secretly, because it's never easy. Finding out is something you have the right to do. Knowledge is power, to make the right decision, and you've decided you won't stay in it with someone who is obviously cheating and lying, and also his reaction, it's very unpleasant. So we offer all our condolences to you. I don't know why I laughed. It's horrible. I think I laughed because I was saying we and I'm one person. And I was like, there's only one of you. I do say we and our at times, so that's where that giggle came from. But no, I offer, and I'm sure anyone listening offers their full condolences because it's never easy, and it's not your fault. No matter what he might have said, he lied. He made the choice to not be honest and to do what he did. So it's not your fault. there is some more tea, some piping hot tea. The other woman did not know about his wife. She did not know he was married or anything. She actually doesn't believe Sophie at this stage and is buying into his manipulation and gaslighting. We believe she's buying, well, we were talking. So there is a we in this time, okay? It's me and Sophie talking. And yeah, we were talking and we think he's selling them, my ex is crazy and all this stuff, that she's a crazy ex and he didn't cheat and everything. So it's really sad, but hopefully when she gets out of that manipulation and takes off the rose-colored glasses, she can hopefully get away from this man before it's too late, because Sophie did reach out to her and she just blocked her, and that happens. But you have to try, I feel like. If you're warning the other woman, you have to do it. I think it's so good, because when she then sees signs of stuff, she knows he's done this before. Like, even if she's not believing it now, when the time comes and something happens, some, red flag moments happen, she will be able to look back and be like, yep, that girl told me this. I didn't believe it then, but now that he's done XYZ, yep. And it gives you more power to leave. Like when I found out someone I had been with had done horrific crimes that I can't even speak about to the victim before me, might get into that sometime and share that. It really, because I spoke to them thinking I'm going to hear back, no, he was fine, he was great. I honestly thought that's what I would get back. And to hear back, the things I heard, that I'm so close to sharing, but I'm very aware of time. I really, really want to tell you that. It's, what he did to the person before me. Anyway, it actually empowers you, because knowledge is power, knowing that, hey, it's not you. You are in a long line of victims. The behaviours they've done to you, they've done to others. We had similar injuries. It was, it was a lot. If I had not believed what they had told me later down the track when things went south and not so good, I'd still have that knowledge in the back of my mind to help empower me, because knowledge is power. So always share, girls, always share. Never take out cheating on the other woman. Love the other woman. They're just another victim. They're another piece in his little game. He likes you, then he picks on them, another one of his victims. The only person in control when it comes to cheating is the cheater, and that the only person that should be condemned. Obviously, if someone knows you're married and still pursues your relationship, that's dodgy. And speaking of Ariana Grande, yeah, you heard about that this week? I want to say so much. I'm going to have like 5-hour episodes so I can just sit here, chin wag, have a fat chat. PHAT, fat. Anyway, I had a story to share. Yeah, I've been cheated on, and I spoke to the other woman, and the other woman was very nice to me. She was like, she didn't know I existed, and she was saying, oh, thank you for being so nice. Why are you being so nice? And I was like, it's not your fault. Girl code. Why would I be mean to you? And I've known people who lash out and get aggressive with the other woman, and the other woman didn't even know about them, but they still are like, oh wait, I'm not meant to swear. WH word. I've been on TikTok. I've got a TikTok page, Love is a Battlefield podcast. I think the T isn't on podcast. I think it's podcut or something. It doesn't all fit, but if you type in Love is a Battlefield podcast, and it'll come up. So I've been on TikTok, and you have to censor everything, like something that might allude to abuse or violence. And so in recording this, I'm like, can I say the word abuse? I've got that TikTok mentality of, I can't speak about that. So I don't know what words I can use, but I'm not going to use swear words. But, women call the other woman a whore, a slut, and they attack them, sometimes physically. They get nasty at them. And if the other woman didn't know about you, they're in your boat. You're in the same boat. I say join forces and communicate with each other. It takes the power away from this horrible person that put you two in this position. There is one person to blame, and one only. And yeah, cheating. I'm going to talk about that more. Another episode. Every episode I'm like, I'm going to have an episode on this, on that. There's so much to discuss. So that's it. I've got to wrap it up. Wrap it in. Let me begin in ending the episode. That was quoting a song. Don't know if you know it, but anyway. Red flags episode. So that brings us to the end of the episode. There'll be more. So much more to share. And we will do that. I will try and start getting episodes up weekly and see how that goes. Go with the flow. See where the mood takes us. These are early days. Things are still weird. We're all over the shop. Apologies for the sound. When I listened to the first episode, I had to crank my sound just to hear it. This time I've tried to record it louder, but when I went to listen to it while I was recording it, my ears were exploding. So don't know what's happening this time. We're going to get there. We're going to get there together. Be strong. We've got this. Be strong. Be safe. Love ya. Bye.